Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're doing something, well, a little different even for us. We're taking a single really dramatic short story. It's called Buddy's Tales, the collar number. And we're going to treat it not as fiction, but almost like a set of data points, a factual report.
That's exactly right. Our job here is to basically do a forensic analysis of a dog's behavior. We're going to dissect, moment by moment, the actions of this dog, Buddy, and his human.
All during what was supposed to be just a routine walk.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to understand how all these things, canine intuition, sheer coincidence, and maybe even deep memory, how they all came together to solve a mystery that was cold for 6 years.
Okay, so let's start with the baseline, the setup. The source is very precise here. It describes a normal evening walk.
The same path, same park.
Right, the same quiet moment just before sunset. I mean, establishing this baseline of predictability is so critical, isn't it? You have to know what's normal to even spot the abnormal.
It's our control group. The normalcy is everything. I mean, think about it. Buddy is a creature of habit. The source says he sniffs, he wanders. If that's his pattern, any deviation from that is, statistically significant.
We're looking for the moment the algorithm breaks.
And that's the very first data point we get, the abrupt, total halt.
Okay, let's unpack that. The human notes that Buddy, he sniffs, he wanders, he's curious. He doesn't just stop.
No.
So when he freezes, that's the first red flag. It's not a pause. The text says it's a shutdown.
And the source material is fantastic here. It gives us more than just he stopped. It gives us the physical cues. Buddy is immovable, sure, but it's the details. His ears are slightly back, his eyes are locked on one spot.
That's not a dog who's just seen a squirrel.
Not at all. I mean, this isn't that happy, distracted curiosity you see when they're sniffing out, a buried bone or something. This is different.
Ears back can sometimes mean uncertainty, right? Or even submission. But when you pair that with a locked gaze, is it possible he's not just concentrating, but he's experiencing a kind of intense, fixed orientation on something we can't see?
That is a crucial distinction. In scent detection work, a fixed gaze like that, it often signals you're right on top of the target odor. The dog is literally suppressing everything else, all other senses, to just focus on that scent.
And the human, of course, misinterprets it at first, thinks it's food.
Or an animal. A totally reasonable guess. But Buddy's posture, it just suggests so much more gravity. It's intentional focus, not casual hunting.
And his next action confirms that intent. Because if it were food, a dog would just be, tearing into the dirt.
Right. Immediately.
But the source describes his next move as digging. And specifically it says slow. Careful, like he didn't want to damage what was underneath.
Exactly. That careful, slow digging is it's fundamentally different from what we call predatory digging.
Which is frantic, explosive.
Yeah, it's designed to uncover and consume fast. But this action, this respectful displacement of the soil, it implies a cognitive understanding that the object needs to be retrieved carefully. The motivation isn't eating, it's delivering.
Hold on. To be skeptical for a moment, couldn't that slow and careful digging just be because the ground was hard, packed earth, maybe some rocks?
Yeah.
And we're just anthropomorphizing by calling it respectful?
That's a fair point, a very fair skepticism. But what happens next, I think, refutes that. Because even with tough ground, a dog that's motivated by food or prey usually gets more agitated, not more precise. That precision suggests a really controlled, goal-oriented action. Buddy's excavating something. He's not just ripping up the ground.
So the focus then shifts from the behavior to the artifact itself. What he uncovers is an old dog collar.
Yeah.
And we get a description. Cracked leather, rusted buckle. And the human initially just sees it as trash. The source says, I almost tossed it away.
And that is the moment where this whole thing could have just ended. But it elevates. The human is ready to dismiss it, but Buddy physically steps in. He grabs the collar and holds it gently in his mouth.
Gentle hold is so important.
It's everything. He's communicating this isn't trash, this matters. The human's impulse is to discard. The dog's impulse is to protect and present.
And right after that physical act, we get this really powerful emotional cue. He whined, soft, low.
That sound is the bridge. It's the bridge to the past.
Right.
It's not an alarm bark. It's not an excited yelp. A low whine like that is often associated with grief, anxiety, or even a deep memory being pulled up.
And the human's interpretation is just chilling. Like he remembered something I didn't.
It's spot on. Buddy is showing a profound personal connection to this object.
So if you treat this whole sequence like a trained behavior, that soft whine is almost like a confirmation alert for a sensitive find. It tells the human mission complete, the target is sensitive.
And that sensitivity is probably tied to the scent on an object that's been buried for 6 years. I mean, think about scent degradation. Leather and metal would hold on to some odor markers, sure, but for the memory to be triggered so strongly by sight and touch, it has to be powerful.
It suggests a real memory trigger, or at least an incredible sensitivity to the, I don't know, the residual pain associated with it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the actual piece of forensic data that cracks the whole thing open. The tag, faded, scratched, but the phone number was still readable.
Which is almost improbable. I mean, for a simple metal plate to survive 6 years of dirt and rust and moisture, it's the physical manifestation of, I guess, latent hope.
Because if that number had been worn away, this whole story just ends there. It's a beautiful but inert mystery.
Exactly. The survival of that number transforms a behavioral anomaly into a verifiable fact.
And this shifts the focus from the dog to the human. Staring at that number, there's this huge dilemma. The text says it perfectly. Do I really want to call this?
That hesitation, it says so much. It's the realization of what could be on the other end of that line.
You're calling a 6-year-old trauma.
You are. You could be opening a wound that's just started to scar over. Or you could be providing an answer someone gave up hope for years ago. The human knows instinctively this isn't just a wrong number. This call is going to matter.
And the call itself is described with so much tension. The line only rang twice.
I know. That detail is incredible. I mean, that's immediate. It implies the person was right there, maybe anticipating something.
Or for 6 years, they've kept that phone close, just in case.
It's in case of the ghost of this missing connection.
And then the woman answers. No greeting. She skips all the social protocol. Her voice is shaky and she whispers immediately, "Where did you find it?"
She didn't say, "Who is this?"
No, not "Can I help you?" She knew. She recognized the implication of a call from that number instantly.
Her response is an involuntary confirmation. It confirms that the object, the reason for the call, is tied to a profound, unresolved loss. Her question validates Buddy's entire mission.
And this is where all the data points come together. The woman reveals the 3 facts that just turn this entire thing on its head.
First, the caller belonged to her son.
Second, the son had disappeared 6 years ago.
And third, and this is the absolute stunner, he was last seen in that exact park. The entire chain of events, from the freeze to the dig to the number, it all leads back to the precise geographic location of the disappearance.
But let's just step back, because there's one more extraordinary layer of coincidence here. Buddy, the dog who found it, was rescued from that very same park. He shares a history with the physical location of the trauma.
That's the nexus point. That's where the rational analysis of scent and instinct just collides with something else. The inexplicable idea of memory.
Could he have been there?
Okay, 6 years ago?
Maybe. I mean, maybe he crossed paths with the boy. Canine long-term associative memory, especially when it's linked to trauma or really high emotion, it can be incredibly powerful. But 6 years, that's a long time for a scent to survive, even buried. For a dog to track a cold case that's half a decade old, what's the mechanism there?
Well, we'd be talking about residual odor memory. Scent compounds from a person, especially on something like leather or metal, they get pressed deep into the soil, and over time, that scent can pool, it can concentrate. So maybe Buddy wasn't tracking the boy, per se.
He was tracking the memory of the boy.
He was keying in on a unique signature. A dense pocket of 6-year-old human odor mixed with leather and neglect that was just totally different from the normal daily smells at the park.
So it's possible Buddy was just the right dog with the right sensitivity in the right place at the right time. It was forensic instinct, not necessarily a personal memory of the boy himself.
Precisely. But whether it's personal memory or forensic instinct, the result is the same. Buddy acted like an emotional Geiger counter. He zeroed in on a spot that was just imbued with this deep, lingering history.
The source material wraps it up so beautifully. It says, Buddy didn't just find a collar. He found a memory, one that never stopped waiting.
It's incredible. It connects 2 totally separate histories. Buddy's own rescue, the boy's disappearance, all inside the borders of a single park.
And it makes you realize how much unspoken history is held in these spaces we walk through every day.
It really forces you to confront the limits of our own senses. You know, we walk that path and we just see grass and trees. Buddy walked that path and saw 6 years of buried time.
The emotional weight of it is just immense. It's more than just solving a case. It's giving resolution to a family that's been stuck in grief for half a decade.
And that brings us right back to the questions that the source itself leaves open. If Buddy was from that park, did he actually remember that boy? Or is it something deeper?
That idea we sometimes have about dogs, that they can just sense things.
Do some dogs just... Do they know where pain is buried?
Yeah.
Like a seismic detector for human sorrow?
That's the real tension here, isn't it? Was it pure olfactory science, or was it something that borders on emotional recognition? What gets me is how fragile the whole thing was. If the human had touched the taller, if the number was unreadable, if she hadn't answered with that exact question, the memory just stays buried forever.
And that, I think, is the final thought to leave you with. We analyze the surface data of our own lives, our routines, our walking paths, the things we just overlook. But if an object as simple as an old collar buried for 6 years can hold a memory, an emotional charge that powerful tied to one specific spot,
It makes you wonder.
what other silent histories, what other vital pieces of hidden knowledge are lying just beneath the surface of the normal routines that we walk past every single day?
Go look at your own walking path a little differently today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into canine intuition and the extraordinary power of a memory that refused to stay buried.